What is up, Tube users, and welcome back to another episode of Fantastically Fun Games for $15. Today, we are taking a look at an excellent game and probably just one of the greatest games of all time, Hades. This game is usually priced at $25, which is it's still a good buy even at that price, but right now it is half that price at $12.49, which is an absolute steal in my opinion, and a must-have for anyone who likes roguelites or just mythology in general. And don't take my word for it. Just go onto the Steam page and look how many reviews there are that are just absolutely positive of this game. It is so fun to play and is a great buy for the price that it's at now, at under that $15 mark, which I always want to hit for these games. Now, this is a game I got pretty recently. I didn't get it in this sale. I think I ended up getting it in the Steam Summer Sale this summer. And I've just been playing. I haven't played a whole lot of it. I've played a good amount though, and boy, it is just such a blast to play. It definitely has all the good elements of a roguelike. Plus, it has such a great story. That's something that's missed in a lot of roguelike games out there. This one does have like a story that follows through with a host of just great characters. And being that Age of Mythology is like one of my favorite games of all times, and seeing just all of that Greek mythology piled into this game and seeing all the different gods and stuff play into this game is so much fun. I'm just such a fan of Greek mythology, and this game just nails all of the aspects of Greek mythology. And this is a game that's on a lot of different platforms, and it's something that I would definitely pick up on my Switch, because it is a single player game that you can play offline, and it does feel really good on controller as well as mouse and keyboard, which is just an absolute plus in my opinion. So just being able to play this game on the go with a Switch is also a great idea for this game. And just the art style, I absolutely adore the art style of this game. It just looks so pretty without it being too overwhelming. It's fairly simple, and it kind of seems cartoonish, but it works so well for this game. And the combat for this game, which is arguably the most important part of a roguelite, just feels so smooth and just works so well for this game. Just more of a hack and slash compared to a lot of the first person shooters I've been playing, and it's just a fresh pace to the roguelike genre to go in and just hack and slash a bunch of enemies rather than mowing them down with a machine gun. And I think probably the second most important thing to a roguelike is the feeling of your character just progressing and getting stronger after each run. And you definitely feel that with this game each time you go back to your palace and upgrade yourself. You can feel it's not like a huge power boost, but you can definitely feel more powerful, and you just learn the mechanics of each of the mobs each time, so you just go back in stronger, which is just a really satisfying feeling. And the weaponry in this game is super unique and fun to play. There's not a whole lot of different weapons to choose from, but each of them has their own lore in the story. Each of them come from Greek mythology, and they each feel unique and different from each other, so it's a really good pace to, if you're just wanting to switch things up, to just switch to a different weapon and feel just totally different of how you play each run with that weapon. And of course, the soundtrack to this game is just absolutely phenomenal. It's one of my favorite soundtracks, and just Supergiant Games, the people that make this, all of their games just have absolutely phenomenal soundtracks, and obviously this game is no different. So yeah, let's move on to some of the, I guess, bad aspects of this game. There's not a whole lot to complain about, but there are some things that do kind of bug me that I want to talk about a little bit. My first real complaint in this game is the traps. They just kind of seem unnecessary for you to take damage with, and they're just a pain to deal with because most enemies will walk across traps no problem, and so it's just you're having to avoid these things that you don't really notice until you take damage from them, and it's kind of just frustrating and stupid to deal with, in my opinion. Especially because HP just is so vital in this game, and there's not a lot of resources to regain HP. These traps just become so annoying and so frustrating to try and maneuver around at all times. Like, I think each level has traps that you have to avoid, and it's just really frustrating and not fun to deal with. And I think a lot of the blessings, or I don't know what you call them, talents or whatever, that you get from a host of gods during each run do kind of become repetitive. It kind of just seems like I get the same gods each time, and obviously there is some choices that you'll have in different levels, but I mean, more often than not, you're just going to go with the best option, and for the most part, it just kind of feels like each run is the same. It doesn't have that uniqueness to it. Like, there is a whole variety of different gods that grant you different powers for your abilities and stuff, but it just feels like each run I go on, I'm always getting like Zeus to start out with, which Zeus is a great person to give you really good talents and stuff, but it's just kind of boring to get the same things over and over at the start and just keep going for the same things each time. And another thing I just kind of get confused with in this game is the amount of different currencies there are. There's gold that you use to upgrade in runs, and it won't carry over to any other runs. You have like these purple gem things that are used to upgrade in your palace. You have keys which unlock new abilities in your palace and different weapons and stuff. And then you have like a bunch of other ones that it's kind of confusing to know, like, oh, what is this currency for and stuff like that. Obviously you'll see like the rooms that you pick, you'll learn throughout which of the icons are for what, and just be able to figure out that way for stuff just as you play the game. But all the currencies do get really confusing. But I mean, aside from those complaints, I really do think this game is a lot of fun to play, and especially for the price point that it's at right now, it is an absolute must-buy in my opinion, and it's super fun to play, especially on controller. Like, if you are gonna get it on Steam, if you have a controller, it is, I wouldn't say it's easier or anything, but it definitely has a more chill vibe, I feel, playing on controller. And like, this is one of the few games that I have on multiple consoles because it has that single player aspect, and it's a lot of fun to play. I have it both on Steam and on my Switch because it's just a great game to play on the go. But I think that's all the aspects that I wanted to get into with this game. But let's dive into some tips and tricks I have for this game. Obviously, I'm no expert. I've probably got 20 hours max into this game, so there's a lot of people that are definitely more qualified to talk about it than me. And if you are one of those people, make sure to leave some tips and tricks in the comments just for my sake. But anyways, let's hop right into it. So I think one of the most important things to know is you definitely want to be using your abilities at all times. Especially your dash is probably your most important ability, just because life is so crucial and vital to this game, and there's like hardly any way to restore HP. You really need to be dodging all sort of attacks that are coming at you as much as you can. I can't remember what it takes to unlock the different weapons because I've already unlocked them. But you do start out with like a great sword. I forget what it is exactly, but it's a pretty good weapon. It's definitely a great starter just to get into the game. But my personal favorite is the shield. Just because you have a lot of movement with it, it makes it easier to survive different mechanics and encounters. And a lot of these enemies you just are gonna have to learn by fighting them. Most of them have just plain simple mechanics. Even the boss fight against Meg, the first boss, is pretty simple and straightforward. It's just a learning game, really. So as long as you are paying attention to what their move set is, it's a pretty easy fight for most mobs in this game and bosses. As far as different like upgrades and I guess I would call them blessings from gods that you would want to go after, most of the time you're not going to have a choice. It's usually just one path you have to go down. But there are some options. Typically I want to go for Artemis, I want to say his name is. It's a green icon that looks like a dash. He has some of the best blessings in the game, that give you extra movement, which movement is crucial in this game. I mean, your dash is your most important thing for avoiding a lot of damage, and just being able to move quicker will help you avoid most of that damage as well. Zeus, I feel, is also a really good choice for blessings as well. He has a lot of AoE stuff that he can give you and things that will help improve your dash, which anything that can improve your dash really is usually what I'll go for between the 3 talent points, but it just kind of all depends on what kind of build you're going for. And I mean, yes, having things that improve your dash is somewhat important because it's your shortest cooldown and it's a movement ability, but it's not necessary. If you want to go for something else, then absolutely go for something else. And as for currencies, typically you'll have the choice between going for like a skeleton key or the purple gems. Typically you want to early on go for skeleton keys because those will unlock different weapons, but then you definitely want to be going for the purple gems because those will unlock like different upgrades for your character that are permanent, which is really important, especially just trying to get further and further in this game. You need to have a lot of those talent points unlocked in order to get further. And anytime you see a room with like a heart icon, I will always go for those because they increase your max HP, which doesn't give you extra health, but it does increase the amount of HP that you have. So it's just a net positive, really. Another one that I personally like to try and go for is, I think it's Dionysus. She's the pink heart one that you'll find, or I don't know if it's a heart, but it's definitely pink colored. She gives a lot of things that will have debuffs on enemies, which can be really good, especially AoE stuff. Another thing to look out for when you are in the weapon choosing stage is look at the weapons that you have unlocked and see if there's any with like a dark glow to them. Any of those weapons, if you use them on a run, will grant extra of the purple gems, which are necessary for upgrading, so it's always good to just use those for that run. But yeah, I think that is everything I have to go over for this game, so make sure you leave a like if you enjoyed. Comment any other tips and tricks for this game that you have. That will definitely help me out. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
That rhythm.